In Denver, there is only one Top Gun. In 1986, John Elway's quick release and rocket-like right arm fired 19 touchdown passes. Number 7's Heat Seekers earned him a trip to the Pro Bowl, and he was the master of the inconceivable pass thrown to the unreachable spot. During 4 NFL seasons, Elway's arm has mystified many cornerbacks, like the Raiders' Lester Hayes.
He has the strongest arm I've ever seen in my life. I have never seen a guy with that kind of arm in my life. And the ball moved so fast, I turned my head and it was there.
No other quarterback can beat you in so many different ways. And during the last 3 seasons, no other quarterback has won more games. '86 was John Elway's finest season, but it wasn't a surprise. The signs were always there. At Stanford, Elway finished second in the 1982 Heisman Trophy balloting, even though his team was 5-6 and was beaten by its own band in his final game against Cal. He was the first player taken in the 1983 draft, and his growing maturity since coming to Denver has inspired the confidence of teammates like Louis Wright.
Over these last couple of years, he developed tremendous confidence, and I think that he takes charge in the huddle, and no matter what the odds, he feels like he can get us in the end zone.
Quite often, the play that Elway runs when he's out of the huddle isn't the same one that he originally called, but more often than not, it works. Raider cornerback Mike Haynes.
In the regular situation, when you give the quarterback 4 or 5 seconds to throw the ball, you know, you can have pretty good coverage, but when you give this guy 7, 8 seconds to run around and get open, stop, and him with the arm to get the ball there in a matter of seconds, it can be real tough.
Broncos center Billy Bryan.
He makes things happen. I mean, he's at his best when he's rolling out, all hope's lost, and all of a sudden you see a touchdown pass. You can see it in any of the game films. When he starts scrambling, it's just like he just pulls away from everyone else, and he can zig and zag back across the field. You can't catch him and protect him, so while he's going back and forth across the field, you just try and go in a straight line down the field so you'll be in the general vicinity.
Keeping Elway out of harm's way is a full-time job for tackles Dave Studdard, Ken Lanier, and Dan Remsburg. Guard Paul Howard, Keith Bishop, and Mark Cooper, and center Billy Bryan. It's a task that doesn't go unnoticed by Elway.
A bunch of hard-nosed guys that work their tail off, and you know, they don't get nearly as much credit as they deserve. You know, as many things as we ask them to do offensively and different blocking schemes, that they do a great job with it and don't get near the credit that they deserve.
In a Week 9 rematch against the Raiders, Elway's near-perfect protection made him near-perfect as he completed 11 of 12 passes. Over 90,000 watched as Elway's laser-accurate passes and the Broncos' running game kept Los Angeles off balance.
Snap, handoff, Sewell to the right, Sewell at the 10, at the 5, Sewell scores! Back split. They give the ball a no fake. And Elway throwing it to the left, and Winder driving, scoring.
The offense built a 14-3 lead, and the defense used aggressive tactics to protect it.
Double gap run X splits. Who else gonna leave open? They don't get to him. They ain't gonna leave nobody open. Nobody.
Tony Lilly's safety blitz led to a Simon Fletcher blocked field goal. And in all, the Broncos sacked the Raiders 4 times, recovered 2 fumbles, and intercepted 4 passes.
Had a way to hit him! Come on, defense, let's get him, baby. One more down. Look at him holding!
When Mike Harton picked off his second pass of the game, Denver was on its way to a 21-10 victory and the season sweep of the Raiders.
The 10, the 5, Mike Harden returns the touchdown. Mike Harden's second interception of the game, and he may be up there lighting the Olympic flame.
The Broncos were casting an imposing shadow over the rest of the NFL. And with a record of 8-1, the drive to a dream was picking up speed. On the NFL's 10th Sunday, Denver was shocked by San Diego 9-3 as the Broncos failed to score a touchdown. However, the next week against Kansas City, the special teams made sure that wouldn't happen again. A fake punt produced a 43-yard touchdown by Steve Wilson. The blocking of Darren Como, Rick Dennison, Randy Robbins, and others turned Gerald Wilhite loose on a 78-yard punt return. Wilhite scored 3 touchdowns, while the defense scored another.
Wait for the snap. Comes back to Kenny. And he is hit and loses the ball. Townsend picks it up at the 5, goes to about the 2, rolls into the end zone with a touchdown.
Denver coasted to its 9th victory of the season, but as they approached the crossroads of 1986, the Broncos began making some wrong turns. With 5 games to go, the smooth drive turned into a roller coaster ride, beginning with the New York Giants. The season took a downward plunge during a last-second loss to New York, then bolted skyward the following Sunday against Cincinnati. Newly acquired punter Mike Horan helped to lift Bronco fortunes as the special teams created opportunities. Denver turned the resulting field position into 3 touchdown passes by John Elway as they pulled away to beat the Bengals 34-28. With 3 games remaining, Denver now needed only to beat Kansas City in order to win the Western Division. But once more, the drive turned treacherous, and they crashed, 37-10. The following Saturday, Denver trailed the Redskins 13-0 before Elway rallied them for a 31-30 heart-stopping victory. For the second time in 3 seasons, the Broncos were champions of the AFC's Western Division. However, this achievement and the resulting optimism seemed to be shattered in the regular season finale at Seattle. Kurt Warner rushed for 192 yards as the Seahawks crushed the Orange before a national TV audience. The dream was turning into a nightmare, and it would be 2 long weeks before the Broncos would have the opportunity to redeem themselves against the New England Patriots in the NFL playoffs.
Okay, men, games like this won by great plays, by great individuals. We got a bunch of them on this team. Let's make sure we're going hard to get them, all right? Let's get after it.
The game quickly escalated into a battle of big plays.
Dropping and running up in the pocket. He's got room. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. He is in the end zone. John Elway. 22 yards. And the Broncos have regained the lead 9-7.
Number 7 turned up the decibel level on the largest crowd ever to see a Bronco home game. But just prior to halftime, the roar faded into a worried silence as Elway suffered a severely sprained ankle. When New England built a 17-13 lead, it seemed as though the Broncos' dream had been buried in the ashes of Seattle. However, in Denver, dreams die hard. In the second half, the Broncos overcame Elway's limited mobility by staying on the ground. The offensive line pried open holes in the grudging Patriot defense. And number 23, Sammy Winder, Gene Lang, and Ken Bell popped through them for nearly 200 yards. The difference in this game was that the Broncos were able to run the ball. The Patriots could not. Winder rushed for 102 tough yards, while the Denver defense never allowed the Patriots to cross midfield during the second half. Then, after the thunder, the Elway lightning struck.
Come on, make a big play there. Here we go. Oh, nice.
Shotgun, 17-13 New England, and the Patriots jump offside. Elway's got a free down. He throws it long up the far side, looking for Vance Johnson. Touchdown!
Vance Johnson's circus catch gave Denver a 20-17 lead. Driven on by the deafening roar of Mile High Stadium, Denver's voracious defense made it final with barely a minute to play.
Eason stands at the 5, takes the snap and drops to the goal line. He's sacked in the end zone, folks. Roland Jones right up the middle. Safety. It is a two-pointer for the Broncos, who lead 22-17.
When Jones buried Tony Eason in the end zone, Denver had its first playoff victory in 9 years. The fog of doubt and uncertainty had lifted, and the drive to a dream was back on course and nearing its destination.
Tremendous effort. You got us going that second step, so the first part of our dream is fulfilled. Now we got that second step, all right, so we got to enjoy it.
Ahead lay Cleveland, the AFC Championship game, and one of the most dramatic finishes in pro football history. The drive had narrowed to a trail of dog bones that led the Broncos into Cleveland's scary municipal stadium.
David, this is what we've been working for a long time. Let's go out and have some fun now. Let's get after them from the start. Let's cover this kickoff, get some field position now.
Defense set the beat. Cleveland opened the scoring, but when opportunity knocked,
Turnover defense! Turnover!
Denver's defense answered. Interceptions by Ricky Hundley and Jim Ryan, number 50, took the ball out of the hands of Bernie Kosar and put it squarely into the hands of John Elway. In spite of a painfully sprained ankle, number 7 courageously marched the Broncos to their first touchdown. On fourth down, Gerald Wilhite went airborne from the 1 to give Denver the lead. By the fourth quarter, the game was locked in a 13-13 dogfight. But after 3.5 quarters of defensive brilliance, one play threatened to send Denver's Super Bowl hopes crashing to earth. With barely 5 minutes to play, Cleveland took a 20-13 lead. The Broncos had lost. The Browns had won. It seemed just that simple. And whatever hopes Denver had of a comeback seemed to vanish on the following kickoff.
They were getting ready to kick off, and you're down by 7 points, and you know you got to get it in the end zone, and you only got about 5 minutes to do that. You're thinking of the best play if you get good field position. You always assume you're going to get the ball out at least around the 20-yard line. So I was thinking about the play at that particular time. All of a sudden, they kick off, and now the ball's on the 2-yard line. Well, you know, the good Lord looks after you because you don't have many plays that you can call on the 2. So, yeah, I could make a decision real quick. Go 95 play.
And the Broncos are 98 yards away from where they need to go. Still 5 minutes to go, but they need something out of this drive.
It was kind of a nervous feeling knowing, you know, what was at stake. And we're just all standing in the huddle, and there was a timeout. And you look out the back of the end zone, and all the cameras and photographers and everybody was aimed right in our huddle.
Bronco guard Keith Bishop.
I just said to the other offensive linemen, the people in the huddle, you know, we had them right where we wanted them.
That was just so neat. You know, it kind of helps you to relax because everybody goes in the huddle. They're like, oh, man, we got to go 98 yards. You know, this is it. This could be the end of the season after coming so far. And he comes up with something like that.
Everyone had so much character in the huddle at that time. John Elway came up to the huddle saying, we can make things happen, you know, we're going to make things work. So when you have a quarterback saying that, and an offensive line saying that, you have a tendency to feel confident in ourselves.
Every great athlete needs a moment that separates him from the rest. And for John Elway, that moment arrived with 5 minutes and 44 seconds remaining against the Browns. Into a 5-degree wind chill, and with nearly 80,000 fans barking Denver's doom, Elway stood 98 yards away from greatness.
I never thought that anyone in the huddle doubted that we could do it. We walked in knowing that it was a do-or-die situation and that there was nothing else. It either go to the Super Bowl or we're going home, and we got a chance to do it on this drive, and it was just a matter of getting out of where we got some breathing room.
Johnson right, Johnson left. Elway in the end zone and throwing it. It's complete. Winder dives out to the 7-yard line.
All right, 7, baby! All right!
Elway's dropped the play fake, runs up in the pocket, running left, John's across the 20 and out to the 26-yard line, has the first down.
Come on, guys! Come on, stick it to him, baby! Stick it to him!
3 minutes to go. Elway to pass on first down. The pass for Sewell. Got it and keeps it at the 48-yard line, and was he hammered?
When Steve Sewell caught the pass and put us about midfield, I thought then that we had an excellent chance because we still had plenty of time.
17 waggle right.
And whenever you get in that position, you know, you feel like that you can go 40 or 50 yards to score in that short a period of time.
Denver was on such a roll that even the anxious moments only added to the drama.
Elway running up in the pocket and sacked at the 48-yard line. Broncos may have to spend a timeout here. They will. They have one timeout left. They are at the Cleveland 48-yard line. Snap to Elway, and Elway's pass is coming and caught. Mark Jackson, first down at the Cleveland 27-yard line.
I had to go 20 yards down the field. And I had the whole time in my mind that I was going to run the route as fast as possible because of the pressure that they were getting on John. When I broke, the ball was there. John just drilled it in.
Elway had entered the magic realm that few athletes enter. He was doing whatever he wanted, and the Browns were merely spectators to their own fate. Cleveland head coach Marty Schottenheimer.
I don't think blitzing him would necessarily have changed what transpired because number 7 with the ball in his hand got on a roll. John, as the great quarterbacks will do, got hot.
Elway was running in the footsteps of Unitas, Starr, and Montana.
Come on, Johnny!
As he ran, passed, and coaxed the Broncos to the Cleveland 5-yard line.
42 seconds to go. Broncos at the Cleveland 5. Third down and a yard. The snap to Elway. The look, the throw. Touchdown to Mark Jackson. 98.5-yard drive.
Elway's rocket capped the single most significant drive in Denver Broncos history and was one of the most impressive drives in championship history. 98 yards in 15 plays against the wind, the clock, and nearly 80,000 dog-bone tossing fans.
So much of a lift for me, especially scoring in that end zone where the guys were throwing the bones. One bone hit me in particular on the elbow, and it hurt pretty bad. And I don't know if you've ever gotten hit by a bone from the 8th row, but I was thinking about that the whole game, you know. When I scored, I don't usually jeer at the crowd, but I had to give them a little bit of my happiness, and of course they responded.
Elway proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that he had the heart to equal his talent. And when the game spilled into overtime, the Broncos proved they had the heart of a champion.
They don't score, they don't win.
They don't win, that's right.
We got to do it. We got to find it somewhere.
On 3 plays, Denver turned back Cleveland's only possession, giving the ball back to Elway. The rest is, as they say, history.
Elway dropping on second down, getting some blitz and throwing it up the right side. Mobley across the 50. Now you hear the crowd. 3rd and 12 at the 50. Steps up in the pocket, and here comes the pressure, and John's on the run. He's at the 50, throws the ball upfield, fingertip catch at the Cleveland 22-yard line by Watson.
After 6 months of dreaming, Super Bowl reality rode on the foot of place kicker Rich Carlos.
This will be a 32-yard try to win it in overtime. Ball is down. Carlos's kick is on the way, and it is gone. The Denver Broncos have come from behind to win it in overtime on a 32-yard field goal by the now submerged Rich Carlos, who is swarmed under by his teammates at the 27. And this time, folks, it is no miracle. The Broncos are going to the Super Bowl because they earned the trip. Final score, Denver 23, Cleveland 20.
In 1986, the Denver Broncos electrified the NFL with one of the most memorable championship chases in the 67-year history of the league. They were a team of special men who created magic moments that will last for a lifetime. And though they weren't able to achieve their ultimate dream of a world championship, the entire Bronco organization will always be dedicated to achieving this distinction. In 1987, the drive to a dream will continue, and it promises to be another exhilarating trip.
Look on, baby!